So there we go. We're going live on YouTube, so that you're already recorded. So after the meditation, we're going to discuss this this idea of the razor's edge between surrender and intention. And where does that lie? Because a part of your mind wants to control reality and say, I've got to set intentions, goals, New Year's resolutions, whatever you call them. And there's another part that goes, you know what, I can just let it all go and I can trust that it will all come to me and I'll be guided. And a lot of people have a lot of conflict about that, especially start of a new year. One mindset says we're meant to set goals and achieve things, and another one says no, you know, just let it all go and find peace. And somewhere on that razor's edge, we've got to find our way through life. So should be a very interesting discussion. Okay, so to start with, you ready, Hazel? Do you want anything to drink, by the way?
Yeah, I'll get myself in.
Huh? You want to just get a glass of water? There's glasses in there, yeah. And there's filtered water over there. So just to prepare yourself, you want to just sit comfortably. So I can see you've got sort of some propping against your back, which is good. Make sure your back is reasonably straight, because we're going to be using the breath, and it's very helpful if your back is straight. It kind of raises this. It's called Kundalini energy in the yogic tradition, but it's like a life energy that's in your base, base of your spine, and as you do this kind of work, you start to raise it up. And if you're all hunched over, it sort of stops that process. And then just make sure you're physically comfortable, that you're okay. You know, you've been to the bathroom if you need it. You're okay to sit for 20 minutes, and you're not going to be disturbed. So put your phone on mute or silent. I'm just going to do that now so we don't get disturbed. Hazel, if you can do the same. Yeah, you can put your video off if you want. It's up to you. And then, all right, so let's do a little meditation. I'm just going to record this. Send to the Art of Letting Go group. Okay, you ready, Hazel? Where's this? Calls, that's why. Okay. We've got sirens going off in the back. That's good. All on cue. The principle of meditation is just don't get worried about whatever happens. So whatever noises arise, thoughts, you just kind of let it all go. You don't judge it. You don't allow your thoughts to kind of get sucked into that. And it's all just part. Just use it as part of the practice. Okay, so let's start. You ready, Hazel?
Yeah.
Let me check everything's good. Yep, we're recording. Okay. All right, so welcome everyone to this meditation. Just giving yourself a time out for the next 20 minutes or so. Putting your phone on mute or silent. Sitting comfortably, feet shoulder width apart. Just cup your hands in your lap. Keep your back straight. Sitting on a chair, you could sit cross-legged on the floor if you want. Only requirements to make sure you're comfortable and your back is straight. So just closing your eyes and start off by taking a nice deep breath in through the nose. So breathing in, notice how the stomach rises. and the chest rises. Just squeeze your sphincter muscle. So that's the muscle used to contract the flow of urine or squeeze the last drops out. That kind of creates an energy lock. It also gives you something else to focus on. So it locks the energy in. And maybe you have a sense of a subtle flow of life energy rising up the spine into your heart center. So put one hand on your heart. Just feel like you're drawing this life energy, this essence into your heart. Keep that lock engaged, and then final sip of air. So it's a maximal inhale breath. You draw it up into the crown of your head. And just pause at the top of the inhale. Feel this life energy rising all the way up, like a warm wave of energy rising up into the crown of your head. Take another sip of air in at the top. And now just pause. And in this gap between breaths, just scan your mind and notice whatever happens to be going on in your mind. Any thoughts, any emotions, whatever thoughts are arising, you just notice them. And apply today's ideas. This is from Workbook Lesson 10 of A Course in Miracles. My thoughts do not mean anything. Just as you look at them, my thoughts do not mean anything. Notice how that just creates a little bit of space around the thoughts. You don't take them so seriously. And take another sip of air in and just breathe in. And that also creates some space around the thoughts. If you notice any negative products of the thoughts, even a subtle, tight feeling in your stomach, a knot in your stomach, a tightness in your chest, a clenched jaw, clenched fists. At the extreme, you can start to have dry mouth, sweaty palms, nausea, panic attacks. So wherever you are on that spectrum, just notice those subtle feelings, physical feelings, because they're cues to show you that there's a thought in your mind that you're taking seriously that's not really serving you. So now you're just going to choose to let it go with the help of your breath. Just blow it all out with your breath. Imagine just letting go of that thought or thoughts, just blowing them away like cloud patterns. They're like dark clouds. There's no real power to obscure the sky beyond them, which is your eternal awareness. Just blow them all away, pull the lower stomach into the spine to expel all the last remaining air out. Just rest here for a few moments in the emptiness. Maybe notice a stillness and a natural peace arising in the gap between breaths. So really focus on that. This is part of the razor's edge between the past and the future, coming into the present moment. And so use your breath as a tool to help you to do that right now. Breathe in. A nice deep inhale. Feel like the stomach is inflating like a balloon, like you're breathing in this life essence into your stomach, into your heart center. Clench the sphincter muscle. Feel this lovely warm wave of energy, this tingling sensation flowing up your spine with the breath. Draw it up into your upper chest and then your head with the breath into the crown of your head. Just pause at the top of the inhale. Again, smile in the gap between breaths. You can really come to this present moment awareness. This is the razor's edge. And actually it leads to this vast, infinite, spacious awareness in your mind. It's like threading through a needle, through the eye of the needle, and then into this vast, infinite expanse of awareness in your mind. So have a sense of that opening up. Smile at that thought. When you start to think thoughts of eternity and infinity, then you're thinking real thoughts. All the other thoughts related to time and space, your experience in this world, aren't really real. So again, just blow any of those out. If you notice any of those kinds of thoughts coming in to interfere, just exhale them all out. Let them all go with the breath. Imagine they're like dark clouds just being blown away by the wind of your breath. You come to rest again in this calm, empty, open, spacious awareness for a few moments. Smile. Because this is always there, beyond your thoughts. Is this place of calm, peace, happiness, joy. It's all there for you. Just have to know how to tap into it, and that's what you're learning right now. So just breathing in and out in your own time. Nice, deep, slow inhales. And just keep an awareness on the breath. Just keep noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises. Subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Clenching of the sphincter muscle, the warm wave of energy tingling up your spine into the crown of your head. Pause at the top of the inhale, smile. And then exhale. Notice how the air just flows out of your nostrils, make a subtle sighing sound in the back of your throat. So you're fogging sunglasses, but you keep your mouth closed. Chest and the stomach suck back in. You feel this energy just subsiding back down the front channel of your body into the lower stomach and the spine. You come to rest there briefly and you smile. And so just repeat that cycle in your own time. Just nice, deep, slow inhales and exhales. Pausing at the top of the inhale, noticing all the little subtle sensations of the breath. This way you keep your mind in the present moment. If any thoughts arise, just use your breath and this exercise I'm going to guide you through to let them go. So just listen to these few paragraphs now, just to prepare yourself as you keep watching your breath. So my thoughts do not mean anything is the central idea. So Jesus says this idea applies to all the thoughts of which you are aware or become aware in the practice periods. The reason the idea is applicable to all of them is that they are not your real thoughts. We've made this distinction before and will do so again. You have no basis for comparison as yet. When you do, you will have no doubt that what you once believed were your thoughts did not mean anything. So just pause, keep watching your breath. As you contemplate that, your thoughts really don't mean anything. It's very liberating. All the thoughts of difficulty, problems, pain, suffering, whatever troubles you doesn't really mean anything. So this is the second time we've used this kind of idea. This was a lesson earlier. It's lesson 4. The form is only slightly different. This time the idea is introduced with my thoughts instead of these thoughts. And no link is made overtly with the things around you. Emphasis is now on the lack of reality, what you think you think. Again, just pause, keep reflecting on that, watching your breath. As you listen to these profound words from a master teacher, this is from Jesus himself. It was channeled through a lady by the name of Helen Schuckman in the 1960s and 70s. But she just took down what he said. And here it is, being transmitted to you, which is something of a miracle, really. So this aspect of the correction process, he continues, began with the idea that the thoughts of which you are aware are meaningless, outside rather than within, and then stressed their past rather than their present status. Now we're emphasizing that the presence of these, quote, thoughts means that you're not thinking. It's quite a statement. We think we're thinking. These thoughts do not mean anything, so they don't really exist. You're not really thinking of anything. This is merely another way of repeating our earlier statement that your mind is really a blank. To recognize this is to recognize nothingness when you think you see it. As such, it is the prerequisite for vision. So now, with your eyes closed, introduce the exercise by repeating the idea for today quite slowly to yourself. So take a nice deep breath in. Say this idea. Say the idea to yourself. My thoughts do not mean anything. Smile at that thought. And then say this idea will help to release me from all that I now believe. Which is quite a profound statement. The single idea will help to release me from all that I now believe that hurts me. It causes me any kind of pain, suffering, distress. Now search your mind for any thoughts that are there and available to you, without selection or judgment. Try to avoid classification of any kind. In fact, if you find it helpful to do so, you might imagine that you're watching an oddly assorted procession going by, which has little, if any, personal meaning to you. As each one crosses your mind, say to yourself, and just breathe in as you do this, my thought about whatever it is, whoever it is, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. There's no discrimination. It does not mean anything. And then move on to the next thought. There's another thought that arises. My thought about whatever that is does not mean anything. If you notice any resistance, part of your mind might be outraged at this, going, how can you say that means nothing? That's very important. It's very meaningful. Just notice those thoughts and use them in the same way. So my thought about the fact, the seeming fact that I'm outraged at this, that this should mean something, does not mean anything. So you just undo all your resistance that way. And then exhale, just with the help of the breath. Just let it go. Just let go of any thoughts. And find that still, calm, empty place in your mind. This is the eternal sky, beyond your thoughts. This is your true awareness. Awareness without thought. You don't need to consciously think of anything, because most thought is dualistic. I, subject, think about something or some person, object, seemingly creates a separation which isn't really there. What you're trying to do is deconstruct that. to go into a space beyond duality. So just to finish this little meditation, have a couple of minutes of silence where you just sink into that space of no thought, but you're aware. There's still a presence, there's an awareness in your mind that's beyond thought. So just let yourself go there for the next couple of minutes. Remind yourself there's really nowhere else to go. There's nothing else to do. There's nothing else to think about. For the next 2 minutes, just breathe. Nice, deep, slow, rhythmical breaths. Watch the breath and surrender. You need do nothing for the next 2 minutes. Just breathe, relax, and be. In the stillness, merge with the stillness, and allow whatever happens to happen. For the next 2 minutes of silence. And if you notice any thoughts arising, which they might do, just notice them with a smile. Breathe into them. Imagine they're like cloud patterns just drifting by. They have no power to obscure the eternal sky, which is your true awareness. So just as you exhale, sigh them all away, blow them all away with the wind of your breath. They're just dissipating into the nothingness they really are. And all that's left is the eternally serene sky. So sink into that for another minute of silence. Nowhere else to go, nothing else to do. Just breathe, relax, and be still for the next minute. And so just gently, on the count of 3, come back from this deep state, very gently back into an awareness of your body and the world through the breath, same way we entered the meditation and what carried us through the meditation. And use it to come out. So breathing in, notice how the stomach rises, the chest rises, subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. the life energy rising up the spine, this warm wave, tingling into the crown of your head. Pause at the top of the inhale, smile. Just take a moment here to anchor the state in. So you just notice what you're feeling. Just noticing the peace, stillness, calmness, hopefully a lot more so than 20 minutes ago. And you can anchor this in for the rest of the session and your day, just by paying attention to it, setting the intention to stay there. Using your breath, so just keep some awareness on your breath throughout the rest of the session. It'll just help you stay connected to this presence. So it is said, so it is done. So exhale, sigh it all out, make a little sighing sound so you're fogging sunglasses in the back of your throat. Air flows out of your nostrils, the chest and the stomach suck back in. And your energy comes to rest in your lower stomach, in your groin. Just notice the weight of your body pressing down into the chair, feet touching the ground. So that's 1. And on the count of 3, you're going to open your eyes. So 2, just noticing all your body senses. So what are you feeling and touching? With your hands, maybe there's a subtle flow of air on your skin. Draw this air in through the nose in another breath. And as you do that, notice maybe there's a subtle smell in your nose, a taste in your mouth, perhaps. Notice what you're hearing in the surrounding environment. So we've got some thunder going on in the distance here, a water fountain in the background, some dogs barking. Just allow all of that and whatever else you can hear to be. There's no attempt to name it or judge it or label it, to resist it, to say it shouldn't be there or it should be there. It just arises and then subsides. When you do this, you start paying more attention to the underlying awareness. So what is it that's aware of these things? This is the sky of your true awareness that's really unaffected by whatever happens on earth, below, and in the cloud patterns that are your thoughts. So quite a nice analogy is to think of the sky as your eternal awareness. It's unchanging, unchangeable, always peaceful, calm, loving, and happy. The thoughts are like the cloud patterns, which come and go. They shift and change. They are beyond the physical dimension of the earth, but they interact with it. The clouds can be formed from water vapor coming off the earth, and then they return that water vapor as rain. But while all of that cycle goes on, the sky beyond it is unaffected. Maybe that helps you just get a new perspective on your thoughts and how to observe them from the perspective of the eternal sky rather than from the perspective of the earth, or getting so wrapped up in the thoughts and the cloud patterns that you really can't see. You're just lost in a dark fog. And so 3, just open your eyes. Look around for a minute or so, just noticing whatever happens to be around you with the same detachment. So you don't have to think about these things, to name them, to judge them, to label them. Whatever it is you see, just allow it to be for a few seconds and move on to something else. If any thoughts do arise about anything you're seeing, just say, my thoughts do not mean anything. My thoughts about this do not mean anything. Then let it go and move on to something else. And notice how peaceful and calm you feel compared with 25 minutes ago when we started the meditation. Noticing this higher state of awareness, you can anchor it in and it can start to become your default state, which is really the whole purpose of any meditation practice, is to carry that state with you into your daily life so that you are calmer, happier, more peaceful, more poised under pressure, and able to function, what I call happily and in flow. You stay connected to this underlying, unshakable, unmovable presence. Which leads us very nicely into the topic of discussion for today, which is, how do you ride the razor's edge between surrender and intention? Surrender is just surrendering to this infinite sky, the eternal awareness, in which you need do nothing. You are perfect, whole, and complete in that awareness. And yet we have a seemingly physical existence. We live on Earth in physical bodies. We have things to do, obligations to meet, responsibilities, and so on and so forth. So how does one still function in that construct, because it is a construct, and remain in the surrendered state where nothing really bothers you, and happiness and peace are your underlying base state? So that's what we're going to discuss. But first, let's just check in with everyone. So Mary, the way we do this is just have a little, it's an expression session, we call it. So you just say whatever's on your mind. You don't have to, but it's part of a sort of process of bringing it into awareness and releasing it. So whatever's arising for you, you just say it. And no one says anything. There's no judgment, there's no commentary. Some of the themes that come up might be food for good discussion a bit later, but an expression part of it, we don't really discuss it. So yeah, I'll start just to give you an idea of what it's. Let me just check you. Are you still there?
Yes, I'm here.
Great. Yeah, okay. It's just starting to rain here.
Nice and all over the breeze. This one open.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a lovely cool breeze. Will it come in if you leave the door open? Will the rain come in if you leave it open?
And the door gets wet, unfortunately. So we'll stop in a little while. All right. Sorry, it just started raining here. So, I'm going to stop this recording on my phone. Okay, never mind. That's not happening for whatever reason. Phone's got frozen. Oh, there we go. Okay. So yeah, just a little expression. How am I feeling right now? Pretty good. In a good space right now. I'm been working really hard this year so far, but it's going well. I'm really getting into a flow of feeling an inspiration in me. It's really about, everything's about that, tapping into a higher power, love, call it whatever you want, and then just expressing it in my actions, in my work, and that's kind of happening quite nicely, and I feel like it's all unfolding. Probably not as quickly as my ego would like, but it's happening, and it's like I'm being guided to build something, and it's quite satisfying. when that starts to happen. At the same time, my family are in the UK and are locked down and struggling a bit because my 5-year-old can't go to school, so my wife's homeschooling him. And so I'm aware that there's other people in my life who are in a very different position. I guess I'm just trying to enjoy the moment and be grateful for what I have. At the same time as going, well, let me try and be as helpful and supportive from quite a far way away, remotely, as I can. That's me. Hazel, got anything to share?
You asked me just now how I was, and you can't say anything.
Sorry.
And I don't know, but no.
Well, it's up to you. Can you say something or not?
I'm just not coping with this present shutdown
Hmm.
because all my friends are in retirement villages and they've all had to lock themselves down,
Hmm.
and I just feel totally isolated. That's how I feel.
Hmm. Okay.
I don't know what else to do about it. Very few people. I mean, there's one friend I've got up the road, but I can't keep, going to her all the time, especially as she's got a husband.
Mm-hmm.
And my back is really getting me down. It was like trying to sleep on a nerve last night. I even took an anti-inflammatory, or what I do before I go to bed, I take 2. And I'm sorry, but I shouldn't have come today. I was feeling very negative. Sorry.
Okay. Thanks for sharing that. We'll maybe address some of those themes because I think you're certainly not alone. I can promise you that. So,
Yeah, but it's people my age that are really, I think, finding it difficult because they're all, most of them are in retirement villages and all shut down. Can't go to see anyone, can't come and see me. And because I'm on my own, I actually depend on my friends.
Okay, well, we'll discuss. It's a good topic for discussion there. You finished?
Yeah.
Okay, Mary, I'm just going to ask you to start your video so we can see you. I might actually.
Here still.
Yeah, I'll just
Can you hear me?
point it back. Yeah, I can.
Yeah. I really enjoyed that. It took me, I suppose, a few minutes to settle into it. Can you hear me?
It's quite faint, but yeah, I can hear you. Hazel's going to
Yeah.
struggle, but that's okay. Just
Um.
speak a bit louder if you can.
Oh, okay. I suppose for me, realizing that your mind is blank when you know that your thoughts don't mean anything, whereas I was in full belief that they did mean something. And it's huge awareness. It's like it's allowing me to detach some bit from those thoughts, but I do know I still have a lot of work to do. But I think to have that understanding is huge and will allow me to move forward and free myself from the past that I have obviously been very much caught up
In your thoughts?
So, yes, absolutely, yeah. And I'm so honored to have come across you, and this is absolutely, it's amazing. I love it.
Great.
Thank you.
Okay, my pleasure. Namaste, which means, do you know what that means?
I've heard of it, but not fully what it means.
It means in Sanskrit, which is the language of ancient India, it means the divine in me. So that essence, presence, whatever you call it, in me sees the same in you. That's all it means.
Lovely.
So it's like a recognition, which is what we're all looking for, really, isn't it?
Yes.
So that just recognition. It's a rethinking of, like, actually, are we really separate human beings, or beyond that, maybe there's one essence or presence or mind that unites us, that makes us the same, rather than focusing on all the differences and the separation, which are part of the human condition, aren't they?
So true, yes.
The human condition. When you said, I've been caught up with my thoughts, that's the human condition. We're all caught up with our thoughts about this world that we seem to live in and what's going on, and our personal lives and how we're affected or not affected. And that blocks our awareness of something else, something deeper.
Yeah. Because I
Um,
wasn't looking forward, to the future. I was going backwards. I was forever living in the past.
yeah. So that's what I mean by this razor's edge between surrender and intention. Because somewhere in between the past, which is over. I mean, the Course in Miracles says very clearly, the past is over. If you're thinking about the past, you're thinking about nothing.
Yeah, that's scary.
It's gone, it's over, and yet the mind has a tendency to want to attach to that, doesn't it? And we want to go into the past and think about it and dwell on it. And almost always that's not very helpful. Sometimes it can be helpful reflecting on the past and saying, look, I realized that wasn't very good. I messed up. I made a mistake, and I can learn from that. And I don't have to repeat that pattern. That can be helpful. And then you move on. You let it go and you move on. But too often we're just caught in this compulsive thinking about the past.
Yeah.
Over and over, we dwell on these situations that are over, and yet we relive them in our minds over and over again. And we relive the emotions, which are often very painful.
Yeah.
We relive the hurt, the loss, the anger. It brings up all kinds of negative emotions, which then sabotages our present happiness. Because in that moment, we're actually thinking about nothing, and we've gone into some dark place that actually has no real meaning or existence, and yet our mind has created that and given us this whole experience of an alternate dark reality that is very far removed from love and peace and joy and who we really are. And we just feel lost and confused in that space. And that is really the human condition. We're just lost in our own thoughts, thinking over and over. It's repetitive patterns. And then we project that into the future. So then we have expectations based on the past, that if the past wasn't good, we go, oh my God, the future is going to be even worse. So now we have fear, and we have a lot of worry, anticipation of the future, even desire. The more you desire something, in case you've noticed, the more you fear that it won't happen. So that's why like really getting attached to a goal, a future goal, is not really a good idea for your peace of mind. Because the more attached you are to that, the more that's going to play on your mind. It'll take you out of the present moment. And the more you're going to worry, like, well, what happens if this doesn't happen? I'm attaching huge importance and value and meaning to this. And if it doesn't happen, I'm going to be crushingly disappointed again, because I've had my disappointments in the past. We all have. And so it's just going to be more of the same. And so then we're between these scales of fear and desire. On the one hand, we desire something desperately because we think that this is going to make us happy when we achieve it. That's what the mind is setting us up for. And then on the other, the fear is, well, it's not going to work out again. And then I'm going to be disappointed, and I'll be even more unhappy than I was before because I'll have another disappointment to deal with. And so that's another way that the mind plays a trick with us in the future. And the razor's edge between all of this is just a present moment awareness and acceptance of what is right now. And I'm okay as I am right now. That doesn't mean you can never think about the future, but it's not an obsessive thinking. You're not going, oh my God, if that doesn't happen, I'm going to be dead. I really want that to happen because then I'll be happy. It's more just like, no, like, yeah, I have a feeling now I should do something now. And if you do what you should do now and you get guided, then things unfold in a way that is very helpful if you can take that guidance. So this is the razor's edge between surrender and intention. That somewhere in the middle, You can stay connected to this underlying presence that says, look, nothing I think really means anything, right? If that's true, it's an absolute principle. There are no exceptions to this. So whatever I'm thinking consciously, if I am thinking about something, that really doesn't mean anything, because there's no real I, and there's no real something out there. However, in this world, you have to kind of operate in the construct. We're living in time and space, apparently, and you may have stuff to do. You've got a job, maybe you've got family, you've got responsibilities. We've all got an earthly life. So the art of it is to stay connected to the surrendered place. We go, look, none of this really means anything. It's like a dream. And you're having a dream. So think back. Maybe you had a dream last night, to your last dream. When you're having a dream, you're in it. You're immersed in it. You're having the dream. It all seems to be real. It's an experience. But it's just happening in your mind. It's a self-created mind experience. There's nothing actually happening in so-called reality. And then you wake up and you go, oh, thank God that was only a dream. It was a bad one. Or, oh, I'd actually like to go back to sleep and dream some more if it was a nice one. But it's over. The dream's over. That whole little mind-created reality is gone. It's disappeared. And you'll probably never have exactly that same dream again. So where's it gone? It was a very temporary experience, and it's dissipated. And then we wake up and we go, oh, okay, so now this is reality. The question is, how do you know that it's really reality? When you thought you were in the dream, you thought that was real. Now you wake up, so-called, and it seems to be more real because we have physical senses. We can see, feel, touch, taste, perceive, but you don't really know, honestly. No one can objectively say, oh, this is absolutely real. I'm having an experience that I can see a body there on the other side of the world. There's a computer here. I can touch a table. I can hear the rain outside. And yet, that's all in my experience. Do you see that? There's no absolute, I can't absolutely prove that it's there, which means that my thoughts about it really mean nothing. And so this is the level you go to when you start questioning. You start going, but hang on, maybe none of this stuff is really real. Maybe I'm just hallucinating, I'm dreaming, and it all seems to be really real. But actually, a lot of the time, my dream doesn't make me very happy. And thinking about it obsessively doesn't make me very happy. And if the only purpose of my life is to be happy, then I have to recognize that this is a dysfunctional way of living. This is not really serving me. So I have to find another way, which I guess is what's brought you here. When you go, okay, I'm looking for another way here because this isn't working for me. And when you get desperate enough, then the real search starts, the real spiritual search, the awakening starts, because you're going, I'm done. I've had enough. And then something will come into your experience, like it has for you, whatever that is. It might be a person, it might be a book, it might be a poem, it might be a movie. Something comes in to go, okay, because you open, now something will come in to show you the way, to help you, because there is a power that is beyond this world that wants you to go back to it, that wants you to awaken. And you can call that God or love or presence or the great white rabbit. It doesn't really matter. There's something there that's calling you, that's saying, like, remember that, remember me, remember this presence, remember a time which was no time really, but remember a state in which everything was perfect. You were happy, you were complete, you were whole, you were always at peace, you were loved, you were totally loved and lovable, and that is still there. It hasn't actually gone anywhere. You just thought it did, and that's the problem. Your thoughts are the problem. So that's why in this course, which was, as I said, was channeled by Jesus through this woman in the 1960s and 70s in the US, he really addresses our thoughts. He's saying, look, the only way I can really help you is you start to become aware of your own thoughts, and you start to be able to let them go. Because if you carry on thinking these kinds of thoughts, you're never going to be happy. You're never going to find that peace and that happiness and that joy that your heart yearns for, because your mind is continuously sabotaging itself. sucking you into this pretty dark reality. And the only way out of that is to start training your mind, is to discipline your mind to go, okay, no, I'm just not going to go there anymore. I don't want to think those thoughts. I don't want to go into that reality because it doesn't serve me. It doesn't make me happy. It doesn't serve anyone else either. If I'm miserable and I'm unhappy, I can't really serve anyone at all. And if you can find that place where you can just be in that surrendered state where you go, I'm not really taking my thoughts so seriously, and yet I can still think. Because it's almost impossible to operate in this world without thought. If you think about it, everything is a thought. I'm going to go make myself a cup of tea. That's a thought. I'm going to have dinner. That's a thought. I'm going to go to bed. That's a thought. Thoughts direct our actions and our behavior, and then the outcomes we get in our world. But where most people make the mistake with this stuff is that they go straight into intention. They go straight into, oh, I think I want this. I think I want whatever it might be, a better relationship, a new job, more money, a better body. I want to lose weight. I need. And they never go, hang on, what about the surrender part of it? What about letting go of the meaning I've given all these things to start with? Because that's the trap. If you just go straight into I want, I need, and now I'm going to go for that, which is a very common path. A lot of people go, okay, so I'm not very happy now. So I think, if I do these things and I get these things, then I'll be happier. Okay, it's the personal growth path. It's like, but actually, you haven't really paused and gone, is that actually going to make me happy? If I go and I do all that stuff, is it really going to make me happy? Or is it just another construct of thought that's actually ultimately going to disappoint me, frustrate me, and cause me more pain and suffering? And so most people don't really do the necessary work to surrender. Surrender means I let go. I let go of my own attachment and the meaning that I've given to things. And it starts with your thoughts. As he says, my thoughts do not mean anything. It's a pretty clear statement. My thoughts do not mean anything. And if you can start to understand that, then you're kind of clearing away a whole load of heaviness, of baggage that's attached to the past, because everything that you see around you now is tainted by the past. It's your past experience that's actually informing your thoughts about that. You see something, and especially if it's got emotionally charged meaning, you give it the meaning based on the past, which isn't its actual meaning, but it's the meaning you give it. And now, because you've given it that meaning in the present, you will perpetuate that into the future. You'll keep creating the same reality over and over again through your thoughts. So surrender is this idea of letting go, saying like, I'm willing to let go of the meaning I give to things. I'm willing to let go of my interpretation of reality, because that's the problem. That's where it all stems. You have a perceptual problem. You're perceiving incorrectly. And if you don't address that through this idea of surrender, that I'm willing to let it go, then it doesn't matter what you try and do, what intentions you set, they will be based on the same perceptual problems, and you'll keep recreating the same problems because you haven't really let go of the underlying misperceptions, the underlying beliefs that really drive your reality. And so we keep recreating the same patterns over and over in our lives. The same past leads to the same future. We get stuck in it, and it all gets quite desperate, doesn't it? You can get to a point where you go like how do I get out of this? How do I'm like trapped in this cycle of repeating the same stuff over and over again, which, as Einstein said, is insanity. Right? Insanity is just doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And that's what we do. We think that, if we just try a bit harder, if we do a little bit different, if we find something else out there, something else to fulfill us, something else to make us happy, then that's going to work. And then the mind pursues that, and then we get it, and then we go, well, actually still not there. And so the ego then says, oh, we'll find something else, find something different, find something bigger, find something better, find something more, as long as it's out there. Because what it never wants you to do is to go, hang on, maybe the whole problem is in my mind. That's where it is. I can't find the answer out there. I can only find the answer in here, in my own thoughts and emotions about maybe what's out there. But I got to understand that those thoughts are really coming from deep-seated beliefs in my own mind. And that's where I've got to do my work. I've got to undo those beliefs. Because only when I undo those beliefs can I reset. Can I now go, okay, I've surrendered my past. I've actually let go of all of that baggage. I've let go of that personal identity that I thought I was, that keeps having these problems and issues. And I'm now a blank slate. I'm now an empty vessel, if you like. And I can be used and I can be guided in a way that is not based on past, that can be totally fresh, that can be inspired in the moment. And that's when you can start to be really creative and really spontaneous and really inspired and inspiring, because you're not bound by those past patterns anymore. You've let go of those. And now the intentions, here's the thing, it's not your ego going, oh, you need that to be happy. It's more just like in the moment, something comes in and goes, do that. And sometimes you don't even know why. Why am I doing that? I don't know, but it feels right. And so now if I listen to that guidance, then always, if it's really an intuition, which means going into yourself, going into yourself. If it's really an intuition, it's going to work out. It's going to work out in a way that you couldn't have worked it out. There's no way you could have known that, if you did that, then that would happen, then that would happen, then that would happen. And oh, wow, actually, that all worked out pretty well. And I had no real idea why I did the first action. So part of the principle of flow, which I'll talk more about on Thursday, is this idea that you can let go of your attachment to outcome. Because we're also obsessed with the outcome. Oh, no, I want to get this result, the end result. And then, the end justifies the means. And so many horrific things have happened in history because of that. So people are like, no, this is the end goal. I'm now out of the present. I'm in some future delusion. And I think that when I get there, then I'll be happy. But in the meantime, I'm miserable. I'm like grinding away, trying to get there, and I'm not actually really happy. And what the ego doesn't want you to see is that if you do that, you're never going to get to a happy state. You can't get to a happy state through unhappiness. You can only be happy right now. So it's about letting go of all of that baggage from the past, and then all the things that you thought you wanted in the future to make you happy, and going, okay, none of it means anything. I realized I was seeking meaning in what is meaningless. The first lesson in the course is nothing I see means anything. And I've given it all the meaning that it has for me. That's lesson number 2. So I've been doing this my whole life. I've been creating meaning and purpose out of what really doesn't have meaning and purpose. And as long as I want to continue that, I'm never going to find happiness because it's not there. It doesn't lie in the past or the future. It doesn't lie in things of this world or people or relationships. It lies in something that's deeper, which is in your own mind. It's just been covered over by all of your thinking about all of this stuff. And so the razor's edge is just being able to stay in that place. Okay, I'm present and I can think, but I'm not really thinking. It's not really the little me that's based on the past and what I think I need in the future. There's something else coming through. There's thoughts coming through, but they're coming from a different place. They're coming from me, but it's not the little me. It's not the me that I thought was me. It's a much greater presence that is not personal. It's not just about Mary or Jono or Hazel. It's about, well, this presence is in everyone. It's a shared presence. It's one mind that is the creative force behind everything, that now wants to go and use you to awaken everyone to itself. That's all the whole game of the universe is about. It's a game of awakening from a dream of individuality, of separation, into an idea that actually I'm one. I'm not really separate. I'm not really a separate human being. I'm not really a body. I can't really suffer and die. It's all just a dreamlike experience. Beyond that, there's a presence that is infinite, that's eternal, that's loving, that's calm, that's peaceful. These are all words. Words are just pointers. They can't really do justice to it. But we need them, as constructs in the reality that we seem to be in, because they point us in the right direction, at least. Using words like peace and love and joy is much more helpful than using words like happiness and depression and sadness and sickness and death, because they point us. They point to different states of mind and different realities. And all this course, the Course in Miracles, is saying is that you can't have both. You can't be unhappy and happy simultaneously. You can't be depressed and joyful at the same time. You can't be free and enslaved at the same time. It's one or the other. You must choose. So it's a very, very simple principle, but it's very uncompromising. It's not like, oh, well, I can be a little bit depressed and happy. It's like, no, I've got to let go of depression and sadness and unhappiness and all of it entirely, or not at all. If I allow some of it in, I allow all of it in, because one little thought of, oh, I can be unhappy, leads you into the whole thought system of, oh, there's something outside of me that can make me unhappy, that can hurt me. And as you know, thoughts are powerful. So you start thinking those kinds of thoughts and they suck you in to that reality, don't you? And the more you think them, the more you think related thoughts. So, for example, with this COVID thing, Hazel, to address your situation, it's a thought, really. What you're struggling with is your own thoughts about the lockdown, aren't you? So you feel isolated, you feel separated. But what is that? It's a thought, isn't it? It's your own interpretation. It's your own meaning that you've given to the situation, which then makes you unhappy, if you're honest about it, doesn't it? It's the thought. It's not the situation itself, because it never is. It's the thought about, oh, I'm isolated, I'm alone, I can't do what I want to do, I feel hardly done by, I feel like a victim. And the more you dwell on these kinds of thoughts, the more unhappy you become. And there's the only way out of that is to look at your own thoughts about it. You can't change the external situation. COVID is COVID. Government's going to do what they're going to do. They're going to lock people down. And whether you agree with that or not, it's apparently happening in this so-called reality. So your only choice is to go, okay, I have a choice as to how I perceive this. I can allow it to get me down. I can allow it to upset me. I can allow it to make me angry and fearful and really go into a dark space with this. Or I can just go, nothing I think means anything. These thoughts, my thoughts don't mean anything. My thoughts about lockdown, COVID, me being isolated, they don't mean anything. And if you can really do that, and it's not easy, because you've really got to go deep into your mind and go, okay, so why am I upset by this? Why does this upset me? Okay, so I can't go and do the things I normally do. I can't see my friends. Okay, so why does that upset me?
Can't do anything I want to either.
Ah, but I want. Okay, so who wants?
Well, all my interests have been closed down at the center.
Oh, okay. Your
as
interest.
well.
Okay. So now look at
Which
it.
always involves people.
Okay. So look at it, Hazel. My interests. Who's the me? Who's the my in that? Who is interested in those things? And why is she interested in those things? What does she think she's getting out of those things that now she's missing?
Oh, a lot. Like when you're retired and you don't have a job, it's nice to feel that you you're achieving something.
Okay.
Like I do at the center, all sorts of things.
Okay.
Singing, dancing, whatever.
Okay. So it's about activities, it's about doing things that.
Yeah.
Okay. But all of these things are temporary, aren't they?
Who knows? No, I'm beginning to wonder.
Well, and it is all temporary.
How long
maybe
is that
that's the
to go
lesson.
for?
Maybe that's the lesson. So nothing in this world lasts. That's a spiritual truth. Nothing in this world will last. If you're attached to the form of things, oh well, I want to do this. I think it should be like this way. You're gonna be upset at some point because it's gonna change. What's guaranteed in this world is that things are going to change. And all you can do is go, okay, I can't change that apparent fact in this reality. Things are going to change always. But what I can do is I can change my perspective on it. I can go, okay, that's just how it is in the so-called reality of the world we seem to live in. Things change all the time. One moment to the next, things aren't the same. Things are changing moment by moment by moment. So, that's the illusion of change we've created. But if you allow it to upset you, then you're going to be continuously upset.
I don't think there's one friend who hasn't got a partner. Even that would be better.
Okay, but
then you'd have someone to talk to.
The lesson here. Okay, so and you got to understand that life is not. I mean, Eckhart Tolle says it. I sent it out a couple of days ago. If you think life is meant to make you happy, you're going to be angry a lot of the time because life is not meant to make you happy. This world was not designed to make you happy. It was designed by the ego to give you lots of justification for getting upset, for getting angry, for getting fearful, for believing in the ego's separate identity. And so whatever happens here, what it's designed to do is it's designed to awaken you. It's designed to wake you up from the dream that you're a separate self, that has separate interests, that can be taken away from you at the drop of a hat, that can now seemingly lose, that can sacrifice, that can feel like, she's the victim of an unfair world that you can't do anything about, so you feel powerless. All of that is a belief system, isn't it? That's all the ego is made up of. So you've got to see this as it's a great opportunity to go, okay, I've really got to look at this. If things are going okay, then you don't really have to look at it. And the value of something like this COVID pandemic, so-called pandemic, and the lockdown, is that it really makes you look at stuff and go, okay, I need to really look at what I believe. Yeah, just open it a bit there, that's fine. Because if you're not going to do this work now, when are you going to do it?
I do a lot, different meditations, everything. And I don't get enlightenment, or I haven't yet.
You've got to change your perception of it, Hazel. That's the key. If you keep thinking, I need these things outside of me to happen, to be happy. I want these things, and now they can be taken away from me, and now I feel unhappy and I feel frustrated because what I think I need and want is not there anymore. That is going to make you unhappy because you're starting from a false premise.
It's not easy to be retired in the first place, and people don't know what it's like till they're there.
Hazel, I'm not saying this is easy. It isn't easy, but this is your challenge.
It's a holiday, in fact, it's anything but.
Yeah, but it's your challenge. It doesn't matter what other people think. This is what you've got to deal with. We've all got our stuff to deal with. It's not easy for anyone, I think, at this time. My wife's not retired. She's locked down. She's now got a homeschool. She can't go out. She can't work. And there's many people, who are having some, on the physical level, some real difficulties, apparently real difficulties.
Can't even see my own family. I asked if I could just swim.
Yeah.
No, I won't go into the house. Now, my son's co-pilot of age 60, got the COVID and he died the next day. So my son doesn't want to even see me, my one family.
Okay, but all you can do is go, okay, I see that, but nothing I think means anything. So why am I getting upset by this? I can be happy right now as I am, just sitting, meditating, shopping, cooking, doing whatever you want. I can find that underlying presence that hopefully you connected with a bit in the meditation. And I can stay there. As soon as the mind goes, oh no, this isn't what I want it to be, you create unhappiness for yourself, don't you? The Buddha saw this 2,500 years ago. He said, desire is the source of all suffering. Because if you desire for something to be other than it is now, then automatically you
Does that
create
go-
suffering for yourself.
Does that go for a good night's sleep too?
Yes,
Because my
everything.
back has been so bad, I haven't had sleep either.
Everything.
Nothing.
Okay. But
Sorry, I shouldn't have come because I'm in an
no,
Hours
but
and
the
weeks.
reason you come is to work through this stuff, right? So you're not in a good state, but you're doing it to yourself, right? What this is showing you is it's your own thoughts that are the problem, and unless you address those, you're never gonna find happiness. COVID, not COVID. Okay, so let's say they lift the lockdown or everything goes back to normal. Well, then something else goes wrong. Something else happens. Your son doesn't want to talk to you now, or you don't have enough money, or whatever. The external problems keep coming. All you can do is change your perception of it. Life is not meant to make you happy. It's meant to awaken you to something deeper. This is where the surrender comes in. Like there's a deeper presence in your own mind that is just waiting for you to become aware of it. But as long as you're attached to your interpretation of your problems and life, you can't see that. You'll never experience that because you blocked it off. Your mind's so busy with all the problems and going, oh, I feel hardly done by. But you're not really hardly done by because the essence and the presence of life, this God essence, is still there. It's still in you. You're alive. You have some awareness. It's there. And it can never go away, ever. Doesn't matter what your mind's thinking about. It's always there. So, we either take this as an opportunity to go, okay, this is a real invitation by Spirit to go deeper into it, to really surrender into and find this presence, this unshakable self presence, call it whatever you want, in me that is not fazed by any of this stuff. And then COVID, lockdowns, whatever, it doesn't really matter because it's all the same. My thoughts about it mean nothing. It's all an illusion. If you don't do that, then you might become temporarily happy when they lift the lockdown, and then they go to take it to level 2. But then in a month they'll take it back to level 4 because that's out of your control. People telling you, what you should and shouldn't do on the level of form. If you're attached to that, you're always going to be unhappy. But if you can find this deeper presence in you, that's like, I'm unshakable. It doesn't matter what's happening on the external.
Oh, I don't know what happened last night. It was the worst night I've ever had. It's not. Yesterday I was very happy. I had a very nice day. Better than I've had for a long time. So
Okay.
what the hell this back was all about?
Well, I'll share my opinion of it if you want. What happens is if you start becoming too happy and too peaceful and too loving, the ego doesn't like it because the ego is addicted to pain, misery, and suffering. So it will use whatever it can to pull you back into that mindset. And in your case, it's your back. Well, that's one of the triggers. So, okay, let's give her, she's feeling too happy today. Let's give her some back pain. And now you're attached to the back pain. You go, oh, now I'm depressed again because my back's sore. But the lesson is the same. You've got to be willing to let go of that and say, okay, back pain, no back pain. It's a physical pain. The real problem is my interpretation of it. The real pain is my mental and emotional pain. It comes when I go, oh, my back is sore again. Oh, I'm getting old. Oh, how am I going to cope? Whatever the thoughts are, that's the problem. If you just go, okay, so I've got a bit of back pain. Apparently, there's some kind of a awareness of what I call pain, but my thoughts about this don't really mean anything. So I'm just willing to kind of let it go. You might find that a lot of that pain dissipates because obviously the more you focus on pain, the more real it becomes.
Well, I took another anti-inflammatory, which I don't often at night. I do too.
Well,
I go to bed. And it doesn't make any difference.
No, but what will make a difference, Hazel, is your thoughts about it. Because in the end, what Jesus is saying is that it's our thoughts that create this reality. It's not the body that's creating it. Your thinking creates the back pain, which then feeds back to you, which then stimulates more negative thinking. And you get stuck in a negative cycle, a negative pattern, thinking that it's your body doing it to you, or it's the government doing it to you, or whatever. Some external cause is doing it to you. That's the ego's whole illusion. And yet you're doing it to yourself. Because it's your own negative beliefs and it's your own thoughts about these things based on those beliefs that keep that cycle going over and over and over again. The only way out of it is to go, okay, I've got to change my beliefs. There's no other way. Which means moment by moment, I've got to watch my thoughts as these negative thoughts arise, and you start thinking them, you become aware of them, and you use a practice like the course, some mind training, some breath work to go, okay, my thoughts about this don't really mean anything.
I haven't been, it's not like I've been not doing anything. Today and yesterday I did a healing thing. And Slave uses a vortex of energy. I don't know.
Yeah, but it's not, Hazel, it's nothing external is going to do this. You only need to change your mind. That's what Jesus is saying over and over in the course. It's a course in mind training. You have to change your mind. If you don't change your mind, nothing external, no pill, no apparent magic remedy calls the stuff magic in the world. We think some magic in the world is going to fix you. The magic can't fix your belief. Only you can change your mind. You know, the underlying belief system is the problem. And that belief is, I'm separate, I'm alone, I'm human, I've got a body, I can be threatened, my interests can be damaged, I can be harmed, ultimately I'm going to die. It's a pretty fearful reality if you really look at it. And Jesus is saying, no, that's not who you are. None of that is true. It's not who you are. You are infinite, you are eternal, you are divine, you are beyond all of those thoughts. And it doesn't matter what's happening in your little dream, you are beyond all that. There's a presence in you that is just waiting for you to awaken. And this COVID and lockdown is the opportunity to do that. You never had a better opportunity to do it, to really look at your stuff, really look at your beliefs, really look at how this pushes your buttons. That is a great opportunity, and that's the meaning of it. That's the only meaning of anything in this world. Is it's designed to awaken you. It's designed to help you to become aware of your negative thoughts, your ego, and let them go.
Well, this was to get rid of negative thoughts. This vortex.
Okay, but ultimately only you can do that. It's your thought. It's your own thinking. It's your own awareness of your thoughts, and then being willing to let go of the ones that don't serve you. That's all it is, really. In a nutshell, you know, that's the whole spiritual journey. Can I be aware of my thoughts, and can I let go of the ones that don't serve me? Can I be aware of what doesn't serve me?
You have to be quite an advanced soul to get rid of all the negativity.
Well, it's a process. That's the purpose of our life. That's why I've got a whole lifetime to work this stuff out. But what inspires me is that you can train this. It's like any ability. You can train yourself to do this. Your mind can be trained to do this. If you, it doesn't matter how negative your thinking is, how badly you think you've messed up. You can start changing it. You can start doing exercises and practices that train your mind.
Well, I do these every day, every morning, pathways of life.
Okay, well that's good. Do whatever you can, but
Every day.
watch your thoughts, Hazel. When you start going, oh, this is terrible, like it's lockdown. How long is this going to carry on? I can't see my friends today. And you start feeling those emotions that come. That's when you need to go, okay, I need to pause this. Stop, pause, okay, zoom out, look at it. These thoughts don't really mean anything. They're just spinning around in my head, and it's trying to suck me in to a self that is not real, to a dark place, a dark reality, which I don't really want to go into. I want to be happy. I want to be happy. I want to be peaceful. I want to be free. You know what? Right now, I can do that. I can be happy, peaceful, and free right now as I am. I don't need anything else. I don't need to go anywhere. Don't need to see anyone. Don't need to do any activities to make me happy. I can be happy right now as I am, just sitting.
I even did meditation exactly about that.
Yeah.
But it's bloody difficult.
Well, but that's the practice. When it gets difficult, that's when you know you're really making progress. Because you what you're confronting is your fundamental belief in separation. And the ego doesn't want to let go easily. It doesn't want you to go into the light, into oneness, into peace and joy. It wants you to stay in that dark place. And it will use anything on the external to do that. COVID, lockdowns, back pain, whatever. It will use all of it to try and suck you in to that belief system, to make you feel unhappy and miserable and hardly done by, and whatever, because that's all it is. That's what it exists in. Its existence is those thoughts and those emotions. If you're not thinking those thoughts and emotions, it has no reality. It has no existence. So you have to choose. Do I want it? Do I want that? Or do I want love and peace and joy? Because I can't have both. And it's simply being aware of your thoughts moment by moment. That's the practice. Your meditations really help. They can set you into a nice place. But it's like, as these thoughts arise, you got to get into the habit of stopping yourself and going, okay, no, I don't want that thought. Pause. Take a deep breath in. That's why, like, I send you the breath breaks and stuff. Pause. Okay, then use a little mind training practice like today's lesson. That's why Jesus gives you 365 lessons. Use it to let it go, to go, okay, my thoughts about this don't really mean anything. Okay.
Now I'm beginning to think positive. That's why I had to come today for that particular lesson.
Yes. It's all, it's all perfect in its imperfection, because every negativity, everything that you perceive as negative, that's hurting you, that is an invitation to look at it again, and to let it go, and to find the deeper level underneath that, which is happy and peaceful and loving. And so you just shed all these layers. As these thoughts come up, you just go, no, I'm letting that go, I'm letting that go, I'm letting that go, I'm letting that go. And I'm free. I don't have to think those thoughts and feel those emotions. Because if you realize, thought and emotion go together. I think the thought, what does it do? It stimulates an emotion. The emotion then leads to more of the same thoughts, which leads to more emotions, and you get sucked into the spiral. You're on the hamster wheel. Thought, emotion, emotion, thought, emotion. And if they're negative, there's no way out. And then you just get into such a dark place. The only way is to start breaking the pattern. Break the thoughts. Go, these thoughts don't mean anything. Yeah. Just one. My thoughts do not mean anything. It's such a simple, anyone can remember it. What's that? Six words. My thoughts do not mean, 6 words. In 6 words, you can collapse the whole thing. My thoughts don't mean anything. And they'll keep coming. The ego doesn't go away straight away. You've been thinking these thoughts for a long, long time. They don't go away straight away. But then it's like, okay, comes up again. My thoughts don't mean anything. That principle is true. If it's true, it's always true. Truth is not like sometimes it's true and other times it's not true. Truth is always true. It's always true. If it's always true, then whatever I'm thinking about time and space in my life, it doesn't mean anything. Whatever I'm thinking.
And your thoughts about the past, your thoughts of the present have been started by yourself with your experiences between 2 and 8.
Yeah,
and
we condition from a young age.
You see, I've got an ex-boss. She's 10 years younger than me, but we're still very good friends. She's just been for some transformative therapy when it goes into your subconscious. And she said she's a changed person.
Yeah.
So it's very expensive what she's done. If I was able to get that done, would it make a difference to my present self?
Hazel, the only thing that will make a difference is training your own mind. And that's free. You've got the course. You don't need to spend any money. I'm running the Arts of Letting Go course to facilitate and guide this, to help you and send you some tools like little breath breaks and meditations that can be helpful. But ultimately, it's about applying the ideas. Ideas are free. An idea is free. The course is free. You can get it online.
Well, I did get 1 or 2 benefits, but no, not all the time.
Well, because it's ongoing practice. Moment by moment by moment, you have to do it. If you've got these, repetitive negative thoughts, which most people do, because most people haven't trained their minds. It's ironic. We get trained. We go to school. And my wife's saying, my 5-year-old, like, why is he learning all this stuff? Because he's going to have to unlearn it in 15 or 20 years. But that's the education system we have. We got to learn like how to be in the world, and we make everything real and important. And then at some point in our lives, if we're going to follow the spiritual core, we've got to start questioning it. I'm going, okay, everything I thought I knew, I just really didn't know anything.
Yeah, but if you didn't have an education, you couldn't make yourself a job, something that you
Yeah,
live
well,
by.
it's
You have to
helpful.
have education.
Yeah. So what we have to do in this world, that's just how the construct works, is, you're born and you have to start learning the ways of the world. You have to start, learning language, and you have to learn how the world works, and you have to learn various information and knowledge so that you can make your way in the world. That's just how it is. To tell a 5-year-old, none of this is real, it's probably not that helpful for him, because he needs to go through a process. And maybe when he's 20 or 30 or 40, he'll go, hang on, okay, so now I've done this whole thing, and I've now got myself in the world, and I've made it all meaningful, and it's not kind of working so well. Okay? Everyone's experience is that. Doesn't matter who you are. We all have challenges in life. Doesn't always work out. In fact, quite a lot of the time it doesn't work out. And so then at some point you start questioning. You start going, well, what is it really for? What's it all about? Is this really going to make me happy? Is this illusion that, okay, well,
Sorry for younger people who've lost their job. That's the worst part of this COVID.
Don't feel sorry for them. That might be their awakening. Losing their job might be the best. My sister lost her job last year. It's the best thing that ever happened to her. She was miserable in her job. She needed to lose her job to start waking up and going, actually, hang on, there's another way to live. So don't feel sorry for people, and don't feel sorry for yourself, because everyone is exactly getting the experiences they need to awaken. That's what we're here for. And you only awaken if everything's hunky-dory and la-di-da. You're not going to awaken. People don't awaken through nice experiences. They awaken because there's challenge, because it makes you question. The Buddha, he left. He had a life of luxury. He lived in a palace. He was a prince. All his needs were met, and he was miserable. He was like, what's the meaning of all this? This doesn't. And then he went outside one night. He hadn't been out the palace gates for his entire life. And one of his friends said, come, let's go check out the real world. And what he saw was pain, suffering, sickness, and death. And he was like, hang on, I'm living in a little bubble here. This isn't reality. And it shocked him into going, I can't do this anymore. I've got to leave. And so he went into the world, and he had to work through all this stuff in his own mind to come to an awareness 6 years later. He's all half dead, lying in a gutter, going, okay, maybe my physical life's over. And then suddenly he was like, actually, what I've been seeking somewhere out there is in me. It's here. It's right here, right now. I don't need to go anywhere. I don't need to do anything. It's in my mind right now. I can experience happiness.
But I mean, Eckhart Tolle also reached same thing when he'd been through a lot of pain mentally.
Yeah.
He was about to commit suicide.
Usually enlightenment only happens when you're feeling challenged. People who have silver spoon in their mouths and all their physical needs are met, often they're the unhappiest people. Look at celebrities, and it's like, because you know what they've done. You listen to that Marisa Peer video.
That's the one that I follow, is the Vortex.
Yeah. So this hypnotherapist, a lady called Marisa Peer, for the benefit of Mary. So she worked with a lot of high-profile clients, people like Amy Winehouse, Princess Di, celebrities, famous people, etc. And she said they all had the same problem. So they all felt this deep sense of lack of self-worth. And then their mind went, their ego said, okay, well, if I go and I become famous and I become a celebrity and I get lots of, people knowing about me, and then I'll get the love that I think I'm missing.
Marilyn
Monroe, another one. Yeah, it's a classic case. And so they do this, and they work really hard, and they focus, and then they get there. Some of them, they get there, and they now have this life that most people dream of. Yeah, this amazing life, and they've got the lovely lifestyle. They've got all the money they need. They can have as much sex as they want because everyone thinks they're amazing. They can buy whatever they want. And then they go, Jesus, I'm still empty. Like that feeling of unworthiness and emptiness is still there, and now I've got nowhere to go. Because before I thought, well, when I get there, then I'll have that, and then I'll be happy. Now they've got nowhere to go. So what they do is they get depressed, and then they turn to alcohol, drugs, substances, whatever.
What me about Marissa Pierce is my friend. He was my boss.
Who?
And this therapy she went through is by a trained hypnotherapist here of Marissa Pierce.
Okay.
And her boyfriend was really treating her badly. She walked out. She's never felt better.
Oh. It's all the same. Whatever the modality is, it's all pointing to the same thing, right? You need to get in touch with who you really are. You're not going to find that in the world. You're not going to find that in a relationship or another job or the latest fancy dress or car or travel or whatever it is you're addicted to. Because the truth is, we're all addicted to this world, and we all think that something in this world is gonna do it for us. And then over and over we get disappointed, and we still don't see. The ego never wants you to see that its whole illusion is based on an illusory self. There's nothing really there. It's just a false self that says I'm not lovable, I'm unworthy, and so now I've got to try and compensate for that and find it somewhere outside of me, which is never going to work because it's an internal decision. It's your own belief about yourself. That's all it is. And the only place you can fix it is in your own mind. So why not just go, okay, well, I can just go, I am worthy. But it's deep-seated. A lot of people go, oh, I can't believe I'm worthy. Doesn't matter what I do. Here's the thing with a lot of celebrities. It doesn't matter what they do. They still feel unworthy.
Yeah. Change things.
Well, you've got to do mind training. You've really got to go in and look at these thoughts and look at these emotions. And it's not easy, and it's not always pretty in there. It's a difficult process, but it's the only way, because no one can change your thoughts for you. I can help you. I can give you tools. Jesus gives you. There's tools. There's modalities. There's stuff out there that can help you. But ultimately, you've got to do it. You've got to apply it and go, okay, I've got to change my thinking.
A lot of crying and everything because she didn't realize all the things that happened to her when she was that young until she had this hypnotherapy done.
Yeah, it's a cathartic process. You've got to go through the darkness to get to the light. It's not an easy process, which is why often people look for help and guidance. It's like, how do I do this on my own? I don't know how to do it. In fact, your little ego doesn't know how to do it. Your ego only knows how to wrap you up in its bundle of misery over and over again. That's what it specializes in. So that's not going to work. So you have to find another way. And that can come in many forms. This is one form of it. I believe A Course in Miracles is a great, it's the best mind training tool in the world, because you get these very specific mind training lessons. There's principles, but there's also like, okay, here's a little practice. Here's a little mind training exercise which you can do that's going to help you to start thinking differently, which has to happen. That's absolutely needed if you're going to change anything. Just rearranging the furniture on the Titanic is not going to help you. Rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic while your whole ego ship is sinking is never going to work. You have to look at the whole thing and go, whoa, hang on. Zoom out of the whole thing. This whole Titanic of my deluded belief system, this is what needs to sink. It actually needs to sink. It's got to go. So sometimes there's a real deconstruction, or almost always there's a deconstruction that happens, and things have to go, and you feel like your life's falling apart, and oh my God, what's happening? And, I wanted enlightenment, but I didn't want this. Because we sort of have an illusion of what enlightenment is, and it's like it's bloody hard work. You've got to go through all of your stuff. But if you're willing to go through that journey, on the other side there's a happiness, there's a peace, there's a joy that can't be taken away from you. It doesn't matter what anyone does externally. You go, I'm not affected, so whatever. Yeah, maybe on a physical level I've got COVID lockdowns, I've got travel restrictions, they put me in jail if I do. Okay, but I kind of navigate my way through that. But I'm not going to get upset by it. I'm not going to get angry or upset or go, because that's just making you miserable, isn't it? And that doesn't help anyone. And it certainly doesn't help you to inspire
Right.
anyone.
Every time I've had a peaceful day and all that, then the crappy night like that, you feel you're never going to come to an end.
But it will. This too will pass. Everything will end. I think this is the ending of a cycle, a major cycle in humanity, and we're going to come into an entirely different way of living through this. And it's going to be a bit hectic, and there's going to be chaos and disturbance and what, because the status quo has to be disturbed for change to happen. And that's exactly what's happening, which is brilliant. I'm like, bring it on. It's amazing. What a time to be alive. Okay, bring it on then. This is what it's all about. It's about my own personal transformation, but it's also about everyone transforming. We all wake up together. And the old system, this old way of doing things, it doesn't really serve us or serve the world. It must go. It's got to go. And this is part of the process. COVID 2020 will be like, okay, that's when this shift started, and we've probably got 5 or 10 years ahead of like serious hectic shift and transformation, and it's like, okay, bring it on. You're either going to be scared of that, or you're going to go, okay, bring it on then, because I'm unshakable. Whatever happens, I know who I am, and that cannot be changed. Okay, so that's the surrender part. Come back to the razor's edge. That's the surrender part. I am that I am. That's, was the first name of God in the Bible. I am that I am. Nothing can affect that. Nothing can change that. I'm unshakable. If I come from that place, now whatever's shifting and changing and moving, the furniture on the Titanic, because that's kind of what's happening. The whole system's sinking, and everyone's scrambling around, and the captains of the ship are going, oh, it's sinking. This whole thing's going to go down. But that's good, because it has to. It's an ego-based system that has to be undone in order for something else to arise. And if you attach to the Titanic and you go, oh my God, this is terrible, and the world's coming to an end, and no, it's not actually. It's just the the past's got to be undone.
So what's your definition of enlightenment?
Being happy now. As simple as that. If I'm happy now, I'm in an enlightened state. It's not oh, now I've attained enlightenment and I'm there. It's a moment by moment experience of I'm happy, I'm peaceful, I'm joyful, I'm okay, just as I am. I don't need anything to happen to change, to like make me feel better, to change my state. I'm not feeling hardly done by. I am that I am. I'm okay.
Well, if I ever accept my son, the one overseas, for having turned his back on me, then I'll know I'm all right.
Well, that's...
Because I cannot accept this.
Well, but being aware of that is a start. Okay, so I'm in resistance. I don't want to accept that. I don't want to forgive it. I don't want to let it go. Why? Why do you want to hang on to it and suffer?
Jonathan, I have done so much forgiveness coming out from my ears since 2017.
But you still haven't let it go. So then you think those thoughts about the past, and my son's done this, and isn't that terrible? And isn't he a bad son? And I'm all alone now, and I'm getting old. So it goes, and that doesn't make you happy, does it?
Not at all.
Not at all. So then why are you making yourself unhappy?
I'm on the Henley chats, and I'm supposed to be included, but nothing is ever said about me. It's just mainly between my two daughters-in-law.
Hazel, it's all happening for you. Do you understand? It's happening for you because that, if you can forgive it, is your ticket to enlightenment. That's how you get out of the whole construct of time and space and the story of Hazel and birth and death. That's how you get out of all of it. You let it all go. So, if you're on this path, you've been studying A Course in Miracles for years. It's like, okay, well, use your life experiences for that. That's the only purpose. Your purpose is to awaken. It's not so that your family will love you. That's a misunderstanding of your purpose. That's not what it's really about. It's about awakening to who you really are, beyond any of that stuff. You don't need them to love you or not love you. It doesn't matter because God loves you. In fact, you are love. You are that loving presence. That's what you are. So how can you be without love when you are that? It could only be an illusion of a separate self in your mind that keeps creating that reality for you. You are love. That's the whole point. That's all. That's the only point.
Every morning before I get up, I do my, never mind sending Reiki out like the man next door is dying, but that's what the lady today, his daughter came to clean the place up and give me the money for the rent, and I didn't want to chase her because she's been really, it's been hectic for her. He's been in the general hospital for a week and he just keeps on holding on to life. And
He doesn't want to let go. It's probably the story of his life.
no, funny enough, I mentioned him today to her that he never he almost turned his back on me. And I said I used to offer him lifts and all that, or shop for him. And she said, yeah, he's difficult, his own daughter.
Mm. So Mary, how are you doing? Any questions? I'm sort of ranting away here.
No, it's so interesting. I'm learning so much. I'm taking notes here as well. It's
No, I can see that. That's good.
yeah.
So any thoughts, any questions arising for you? Like, how do I apply this? How do I actually do this practically?
Is it more being aware of the thoughts coming and changing them?
Yeah, it all starts with awareness.
Yeah.
To create that awareness of your thoughts, because if you're not aware of your thoughts, then they just happen and they just kind of thinking you, and they just kind of, you're asleep at the wheel. These thoughts are just happening, and then one thought leads to another, and you end up doing things that aren't really helpful, don't really serve you or others, and you go like, what the hell was I doing? What was I thinking? But it's like another entity. This is the idea of the ego, which is a separate self. It just means I am in Latin. So it's this idea that I am me. I am a separate self. I have an individual personality. I have my own problems, my own life, my own family, special relationships, fears, wants, desires, the whole story. The whole story of Mary or Jono or Hazel, that's the ego. And most people don't realize just how entrenched they are in that.
That's the Latin you were saying.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, that's what it means. So it's a sense of I am a separate self, which is kind of what the whole world is based on, isn't it? I'm a separate self. I'm a person. I really have a life. I have an existence here. It's very important. I'm very important. My well-being is very important. And if I make all of that important and real, I am going to suffer because there are going to be things that constantly threaten that, aren't they? If you think about it, stress is just the perception of external threat, isn't it? I perceive that I'm being threatened by something outside of me. Oh, now I feel stressed. It's another word for it is fear. It's all the same thing. It's a feeling like, oh my God, this is not good. I'm somehow feeling threatened here. I can die ultimately. The base of it, the ego's whole existence is threatened by anything that challenges it on this level. If we're willing to really become aware of it, it's the fear of death. But what the Course is saying, every great spiritual teaching is saying, you can't really die. It's impossible. Your mind is eternal. The eternal can't die. You can only think you can die in your dream, right? Your little ego construct and the body that it's created and the life, that's going to go away, right? But that wasn't really your life anyway. That wasn't true. So it was only an illusion that's just dissipating. What's true, the essence of you is immortal. It's eternal. You can't die. Quite impossible. Absolutely an impossibility that you can die, because God is eternal. God created you as exactly as himself, eternal. Love is eternal. Your mind is eternal. You can't die. Once you really get that, they say enlightenment, another definition is it's a joke. It's a Zen. Enlightenment is a joke. It's ridiculous. We all believe all this stuff. We've been told all of this, that, life is very scary and fearful, and you're this little body, and you've got to get a good job and make money and, look after your own interests and find your perfect person, your perfect soulmate, and all this stuff that we're supposed to do to make us happy. And it's all a joke. It's not real. It's a dream that you're dreaming, that the mind is concocted, that you've created, which is now, a lot of the time, if you're really honest, it's not making you very happy at all. If you believe in the reality of the dream, you're not going to be a very happy person. It's inevitable, because sooner or later, the dream is going to threaten you. This little ego self is going to feel threatened. You're going to feel less than. You're going to feel someone's hurt you. Someone's done something you didn't like. COVID comes along. You lock down. You lose your job. You lose your business. You get sick. People you know are dying. Oh my God, it's all terrible. It's a disaster. But actually, all that's happening is the illusion of the ego is deconstructing. It was never a real construct anyway. And it's going to deconstruct at some point anyway. Your entire life at some point is going to deconstruct and your body will die. It's an inevitability, right? Eckhart Tolle says all that's left after your life is a dash between the date of your birth and the date of your death on your gravestone. That's it. That's your entire life. All the thoughts, emotions, fears, desires, expectations, dreams, problems, all of it is a little dash. It's crazy, really. And yet in that dash, you thought it was so important. You thought it was all so real and so important. And there was all this thought and emotion that went on. And at some point, it's like end of. That's it. And he says to the ego, that's a terrifying thought. But to you, the real self, that's enlightening. That's liberating. You go, wow. Actually, all of this stuff that I've been so obsessed about and so concerned about is a little non-entity. It's a little dash. It's nothing. None of it really means anything. Beyond all of that, beyond birth and death and this whole construct of human life, lies an eternal presence that's always happy, peaceful, loving, and joyful. And I can have it if I want it. It's available. It's always been there. It can't go away. It's simply up to me whether I'm going to go there and I'm going to allow it into my mind and into my experience or not. Because we block it. Who blocks that?
The ego. I mean, how the hell can you ever get rid of the ego?
Well, Jesus has given us a way. There's a way to do it. You just got to train your mind. Train your mind to see it. That's the awareness. And then let it go. It's a two-step process. See it for what it is. Let it go. There's a lot that goes into that awareness, to just coming to that awareness. There's a lot of mind training that's required. And then to be able to go, okay, I can actually let it go. That's another step. And it's not something that you'll know how to do. You don't get trained to do this. Who teaches you to have awareness of your thoughts and then let them go when you're young? You don't get taught that. Quite the opposite. You get taught to get distracted. The society we live in is constantly about, oh, look at that, go there, desire that, want that. Marketing is all about something outside of you that's going to make you feel better, isn't it? That's what marketing is. So now you've got to go and earn money to get this thing that's going to make you feel, better about yourself. And it's not really going to work. Oh, but never mind. We've got something else you can buy then. and so we go. I saw a sign over the Christmas period, happiness is 18 days of festive deals. It's ridiculous. Happiness is 18 days of festive deals. Okay, so what happens when the deal's over? There's no happiness. But these are the kinds of messages we get from our society. It just doesn't work. It's ludicrous if you really look at it from a high spiritual perspective. It's mad. Like, how can you expect happiness from a deal at a shop that you can get? You buy something, it'll last for a bit. Oh, that's a really nice dress. You put it away, and then it's over. In a few minutes, that feeling's over, and you've just paid however much for that little moment of like, oh, and then it's over. And then, oh, well, I need something else to make me feel like that. Whereas meditation and this kind of mind training is about saying, no, none of that's going to work. So just stop going down that road, because it's not going to work. Go within. That's the only place you're ever going to find true happiness and peace. And do the work. Train your mind, and that's free. You can sit and meditate for free. You don't need to pay anyone to do it. This will save you a fortune if you really get this, because you're not reliant on, like, I need stuff anymore. Well, if I don't need very much stuff, you've got a certain basic physical needs. But most people are like, I need this, I want this, and I've got to work really hard to earn money to go and buy stuff that I think I need, which I don't really need. It's all, and then I don't really need it. Now it's on to the next thing. But it's a track, and our whole society is geared up to this. Because that's the commercial world we live in. Capitalism is based on people have needs. Do they really? Do they need all this crap we produce? No, they actually don't. But we produce it anyway because someone's making money from it, and now that becomes the dominant. As long as something's happening, and we're selling something and we're making money, it's like, but do we really need it? No, most of the stuff we produce we don't actually need. So I think what's going to come in the next few years is a lot of simplification. A lot of that stuff's just going to go, okay, you don't really need that. So it's going to be taken away. It's not really helpful. You're not going to find enlightenment in a shopping mall unless you sit there and you just observe, so you can find it anyway. Just observe and but if you're like, oh, well, what's in that shop and what's in that shop? And that's never going to work. So you have to surrender first, right? Surrender, and then you allow an intention to come through you. But now it's not your intention. It's not like, oh, I think I need this. I think I want this. It's more like, okay, I'm in this empty space of presence. I'm feeling a fulfillment, a love, a joy that's filling me up that I can't really even explain. It's just something I'm inspired, right? As it's the spirit is in me, or entheos is the Greek, enthusiasm. God is in me. Okay, so now what do? You show me. I don't know the whole plan. I don't know how it's all going to work out, but you show me moment by moment. There's a higher presence that will come in, and if you have made yourself available, it will give you the thoughts and the feelings and the inspiration to act in a very guided way that is truly helpful to not only you, but to everyone who you interact with. And that's when your life truly starts to have meaning. But you have to let go of the existing meaning. So a lot of people go, well, Christ, if nothing has any meaning, what's the point? Why don't I just commit suicide right now? And we've all had those thoughts. What's the point of it? But you have to go through that, like, okay, yeah, I've got to let go of all of that meaning that I gave it, to clear the slate, to open yourself and go, okay, I actually have no frigging idea. I don't know. And that's okay. That's a great place to be in if you get that, because then you can be truly open to something else coming in. Then you can be a vessel, a channel for this inspiration to come in and to tell you, and it will tell you amazing stuff like you could not have anticipated or created that at all in your own life. There's no way you could have planned that. You could have gone, okay, well, I'm going to set a goal to achieve that. It just kind of unfolds. It happens because you listened in the moment, and it tells you to do something, to phone someone, to take an action, and then the whole thing unfolds. And that was your divine path, right? That's in the Buddhist teaching, they call it Dharma. It's like there's something that you need to do, something you need to experience. And this presence, call it the spirit, of course, calls it the Holy Spirit, your intuition, your higher self, your soul, your Atman, it doesn't matter. There's something in you that will help you, that will guide you to do, and it might tell you to do some very strange things. Like, why the hell am I doing this? But if you go with it, you will see that it unfolds because it's got a higher intelligence, way higher than the ego is like, I think I'm lacking, so I must go and get that to fill the lack. That's never going to work. It's never going to fill the lack by definition, because it's based on lack. If you start from a point of lack, oh, I'm lacking, I feel unworthy, all you're going to do is create the same thing again and again. But if you come from a place of like, I've actually emptied myself of all the rubbish, all the crap, I'm now open and I'm empty, now I can be filled up with something else. My cup is empty, but I have to empty my cup first of all the crap, the dirt and the water, the dirty water and whatever. I have to clean that out, empty the vessel so that I can be open. So now this inspiration can flow through me. Now I'm in flow. Now I'm being guided. Now it's like everything's just happening as it should. I'm being guided. I'm seeing the right people. I'm connecting where I should. I'm doing what I should do. I'm not obsessed about my own separate interests anymore. I'm more like, okay, use me. Right? I'm an empty vessel. You use me to do what you need to do in the world. And I have no particular investment in how that looks. And that's what the Course is inviting us to do. It's called the Course in Miracles, because when you live in that state, you're in a miraculous state of mind. You become a miracle worker. You can touch people. You can open people's hearts. You can help them. You can heal them. You can inspire them just through who you are, just in your ordinary interactions. And you might be inspired to do something different. You might be inspired to quit your job or start a new business or go and spend 6 months in an ashram. Who knows? I don't know. No one can say. Everyone's path is different. But you will get the inspiration that you need for your next step. Because it's just waiting to come through. You've just blocked it your entire life. Because you think you know what you're doing. And the truth is, the first awareness of this is like, I don't know what I'm doing. I haven't got a freaking clue. I'm 40 whatever, in your case 70 whatever. I don't have a clue. I don't know. I think I know. I thought I knew, but actually I don't really know. Because the ego doesn't have a clue. Jesus is saying the ego doesn't really know anything. All it knows is how to confuse you and how to delude you and how to create a lot of chaos and misery and unhappiness. That's all it knows. It's not really doing anything except winding you into that reality more and more. So the spirit is the opposite. The spirit says, no, I know. True reality is beyond all this. You don't need any of this stuff. So let me take you by the hand and I will lead you out of your dark place back to the light. Step by step by step. You just got to be willing to listen to me and I'll guide you. And as stuff comes in, you're going to get your blocks and things will arise. But if you're willing to apply these principles, simple awareness, and then letting go of what doesn't serve you, that's all you need to do. That's all forgiveness is, or letting go. That's all it is. You just have to master that one simple skill. It's only ask you to do one thing. Holy Spirit says you need to do one thing. Just let go of what doesn't serve you. Become aware of it. Be willing to let it go. And you might not always get it right straight away. Sometimes things are deep-seated. It's difficult for you to let go of your attachment to your son, isn't it? But if you do, Hazel, when you do, the amount of freedom and peace and happiness you'll experience, you won't know yourself. You'll just be like, oh my God, this was always available. And yet I kept myself in this why? Because you thought it gave you something. But actually all it gives you is misery and unhappiness and pain. It's not really serving you. So let it go. Just let your son be. He's not really even your son. That's what the Course is saying.
Well, you see, the thing is, why it's so painful is that we were very, very close.
Yeah,
and I did so many things with him.
But that's the past. Based on the past. So now your ego is saying, oh, but I expect it to be that way now. But nothing stays the same here. He's moved on. He's living overseas. He's got a family. Of course it's going to change. Inevitably. And so it's only your attachment to like, no, it should be this way based on the past that's holding you in prison.
Yeah, but over Christmas and New Year, we not Skyped them, but they were on the Hindi chats. Hardly said hello.
So what? Does that affect your true self, your true reality in any way? Does that mean that suddenly God has disappeared? There's no love?
No love, yeah.
No, but it doesn't. Love is still there, but if you choose to focus on that, then in your mind you deny love. You go, oh, there's no love, and I feel unloved, I feel unworthy, I feel separated, I feel alone. It doesn't make you feel good. So why go there? Don't allow it. The more you focus on that, the more miserable you're going to feel. So no, like actually, I'm loved. God loves me. That presence can never go away. Right? Your son can come and go. Your son could die tomorrow. Any physical form will dissipate at some point. You can't rely on it. But that infinite eternal presence will never go away. It's the very source of life. It's the reason why we have any kind of awareness or existence at all.
Well, you keep sending me emails about how to make money on it.
So let it go, Hazel.
And I I am so tempted to say, please stop sending them, because last 3 said don't open it. It will damage your computer, whatever.
All right, Mary, you got to go. So if you can stay for another 5 minutes, we'll just wrap it up. It's been a couple of hours, so generally,
Okay.
thanks
Yeah,
for
I
a little
didn't want to disturb you talking.
Yeah, no, it's fine. So if you can stay for 5 minutes, we'll just close it out.
Okay. Okay.
Just end off with a nice little meditation. So I hope that was helpful, useful, some
Absolutely.
good ideas. If you'd like to take the next step, join the masterclass on Thursday, because I'll go into some of what I've talked about in more detail, and I'll talk about a program I'm starting on the 24th. So if you want some help in doing this, most people do need some kind of help or guidance. That's available, and I'll talk about how that all works. Okay. So just sitting comfortably. Go back into a nice meditation posture. Close your eyes. And just start off again by taking a nice deep breath in. Through the nose, notice how the stomach rises, chest rises, subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. And just breathing a sense of gratitude. So love and gratitude go hand in hand. Put one hand on your heart center and just breathe that in. And just give thanks for the session we've had. There's been a lot of inspiration, hopefully, coming through. Some new ideas, all of which is designed to help you find happiness and peace. Because there's a presence, this voice for love, the Holy Spirit, call it whatever you want, that just really wants to help you. It's brought you here today, wants to guide you into a very peaceful, happy place. Help you to stay there forever, for all eternity. So be grateful for that. You're on a journey. You have a guide. Holy Spirit is guiding you step by step, moment by moment, thought by thought, word by word, action by action, through the maze of this world, this life, to back to this place in your own mind where you're always happy, peaceful, and loved. So just feel that for a few moments, that love, that peace. Breathe it into every pore of your body, every cell, every muscle, every fiber of your being. It's filled up with this loving presence. Smile. Just feel a gratitude for it. Gratitude and love go hand in hand. That is always there, can never go away. It's always there to guide you, to help you with a thought, a word, a suggestion. It's your best friend, your guide, your helper, your support in times of need. You can always turn to it. You simply have to ask. As Jesus said, knock and the door will be opened. Ask and ye shall receive. Seek and you will find. So I hope you've sought and found some greater inspiration and guidance in this session. Thank you for joining. Give thanks to everyone who's here. Thank you, Hazel, Mary, for joining this. And to everyone who sees this video on YouTube and social media, thank you for joining this after the fact. I hope it's been a lovely session for you. And I wish you a very happy, peaceful, and flowing evening and week ahead. Just remember that you're only ever one breath away from happiness. And on that note, thank you again. Open your eyes and continue on with your day. Enjoy the rest of the weekend, and just watch your thoughts. Just stay in the space. Just make it a habit to watch your thoughts. Be aware of your thoughts, and be willing to let go of the ones that don't serve you over the next few days until the masterclass. So I look forward to seeing you then, Mary. You presumably have received all the details.
Yes, thank you so much.
So it's the same login. You just log in the same way you did at it's 7 p.m. Your time on Thursday evening. Just block out a couple of hours. It's a lot of information I'll be sharing. I'll be guiding you through a meditation, and that's the next step. In the meantime, you can I'll be sending out my emails and WhatsApp messages, breath breaks. So the idea of those breath break recordings is that you just use them to interrupt your pattern. If you find that your mind is starting to go into its normal pattern of thinking obsessively about things, then just pausing and stopping and using one of the breath breaks from meditations to reset will help you to just get back into this kind of space. Hopefully you're in a nice, clear, calm, present space now. So just when you do it, just notice how it feels, because the more you notice it, the more you start to anchor that state in, to use an NLP term, the more it starts to become your default state. And you're training your whole system, your mind, your body, your emotions, your biochemistry, to stay in that state, rather than defaulting to your normal kind of less than optimal unhappy state. So it's a profound rewiring of your whole system that we're doing here, and it does take time and it does take practice and perseverance, but that's what we're here for. That's the only real purpose of our lives here. So,
Much appreciated.
thank you for joining, and namaste again.
Thank you.
I'll see you on Thursday.
Yes. Bye, Hazel.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay. Thanks for joining, Mary.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
All right. Bye.